Hello, everyone. I am Belinda Cheeseborough, STEM Education Specialist at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. I'm here to share the stories of African Americans and the impacts they've had and continue to have on American culture because of their STEM contributions. Through the Window and Into the Mirror is a career conversation series about the experiences of African American STEM professionals today. During this session, students will peer into the windows of their speakers' lives and learn from their lived experiences. They will also find parts of their culture and lifestyle mirrored in their stories. To everyone listening, it is our hope that you leave here with inspiration, information, and plans for action as you take your first steps towards having a career in STEM. Now, let's meet our speaker. Welcome, Dr. Samaiyah Farid.
Hi,
Hello, so happy to have you here. I'm
thank you
very
for having
excited.
me.
Yes, I'm very excited to chat with you today while engaging the teachers, students, and their families who will be watching this interview. Now, to kick us off, I just have our first question. So can you please briefly tell us about your work, what you do, and anything else you think is important for us to know?
Okay. Yes, thanks for having me this morning. I hope that the teachers and students get a lot from this process. I am a solar physicist. That means I study the solar corona. I study particularly the solar corona is the outer atmosphere of the sun. And there's a lot that goes on in the solar corona. It's really dynamic and full of activity. And I study solar eruptions that happen there. So that is what I do.
The most exciting part.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So we're going to go back in time and talk a little bit about your childhood first. So while growing up, did you have an interest in STEM? Did you have positive STEM experiences and later inspired you to pursue a career in science?
Well, I was really lucky in that when I was young, I already knew that I wanted to study astronomy when I grew up. That was the only thing that I really had a serious interest in. When I was in elementary school, I used to read a lot of sci-fi books, and I used to watch a lot of programs on PBS and everything about astronomy and space. And then, but I didn't know that astronomers were a real career. I didn't know that you could do that as a real career. Um, so in as I continue on to middle school and everything, I still was interested in astronomy, but I didn't know. I thought I would maybe do that as a hobby because I thought that's what people did as a hobby. I had no idea that something like astrophysics even exists as a complete field and a profession of study because I had no exposure to anyone who was a scientist in that way. Um, so I didn't realize it was an actual thing or serious career until probably high school. And so that was my initial interest in STEM came from interest in want to understand space and the night sky and trying to understand the big questions like why are we here and how do we get here and what is this all about?
I relate heavily to that because I also had a similar experience when I was younger. I thought that the only thing you could do in astronomy was be an astronaut when I was a kid. So, yeah, I also didn't know you could, be an astrophysicist until high school. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we had similar
Okay.
experiences.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was a real thing. So yeah.
Yeah. So, which books you mentioned that you were interested in sci-fi books and also you were a PBS fan. I was also a PBS fan. I mean, which kid wasn't during
Yeah.
our generation growing up? But
Right.
which were your favorite sci-fi books to read?
I remember like my most favorite books were those choose your own adventure books where you can choose the choice of where to go. It's a whole series of them journeying through.
And you have to turn to the page that
Yeah,
is
yeah,
marked. Yeah.
exactly. So those were my favorite. I read them 100 million times. Also, like books by H.G. Wells about time travel and